really think they take this serious. I think it's a big game to them, and they don't understand that the more confusion and the more back and forth that we do, no one suffers but the people of the village.
It's shut down, and that is why the building is closed.
Well, we were advised by the attorneys to close the building. The building shouldn't be open. The risk is great.
The meeting was chaos from the moment it began, and honestly, no one was surprised. South suburban politics is no stranger to drama, but this one felt like a whole new level of dysfunction. Supervisor Tiffany Henyard, referred to by some as the super mayor because she holds two high-profile positions, set the tone for the evening with her usual fiery energy. This wasn't governance, it was a spectacle. And if you thought the meeting was about solving problems, think again. It was a soap opera, a wrestling match, a reality show all rolled into one. From the moment she called the meeting to order, Henyard was on the offensive. She accused trustees of failing to show up for meetings, of neglecting their duties, and of essentially sabotaging the township. "You didn't come to a board meeting, and now we don't have insurance," she shouted at one point, her frustration boiling over. The lack of insurance has been a critical issue for weeks now, leaving the township and its employees exposed. But instead of working together to fix the problem, the meeting descended into finger-pointing and petty squabbles.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard was not at the hearing here today. Neither was her attorney, and she was not made available for a comment.
Henyard's critics, however, were quick to fire back. Trustee Chris Gonzalez, who has emerged as one of Henyard's fiercest opponents, accused her of playing political games. Gonzalez pointed out that Henyard doesn't actually need the trustees to secure insurance, claiming she could have resolved the issue on her own if she'd wanted to. But instead, she's using the crisis as leverage to push her own agenda. And let's not forget the personal grudges at play here. Gonzalez wasn't always Henyard's enemy. In fact, he was the one who initially nominated her for the supervisor position. But now, with Gonzalez joining the slate of candidates backing State Senator Napoleon Harris, the man who ousted Henyard in a controversial Democratic caucus vote, their relationship has soured beyond repair. Henyard clearly sees this as a betrayal, and it's only added fuel to the fire. Her frustration was palpable throughout the meeting, and she didn't hold back. At one point, she called the trustees dumb and accused them of intentionally sabotaging the township's budget.
You didn't run out of this the right way. Illegal!
The meeting, which was supposed to address critical issues like insurance and budget approval, accomplished none of its objectives. Instead, it became a stage for Henyard's grievances and the trustees' counterattacks. Residents, who had been hopeful that their elected officials might finally get their act together, were left disappointed once again. One attendee described the meeting as a full-blown soap opera, while another said it felt more like a WWU match than a government meeting. And really, they weren't wrong. The level of dysfunction on display was staggering.
Jordan.
It's about democracy and it's about hypocrisy.
I really think it's very hypocritical.
The meeting wasn't just a spectacle for those in attendance, it was also live streamed. And the comments section quickly turned into a battlefield of opinions. Supporters of Henyard praised her for standing firm against what they perceived as obstruction from the trustees, while critics lambasted her for creating the chaos in the first place. One commenter wrote, "This is exactly why nothing gets done in Thornton Township. Too much drama, not enough action." Another chimed in, "She's the only one trying to fix this mess. But when everyone's against you, what can you do?" The divide among residents mirrors the dysfunction on the board itself, with no clear path forward as long as these tensions persist. Adding to the drama is the mounting financial strain on the township. Without proper insurance, township properties, vehicles, and programs remain unprotected, creating a legal and financial risk that grows with each passing day. Employees are stuck in limbo, unsure if their jobs will be secure through the holidays. Residents who depend on emergency assistance programs, such as food support and transportation for medical appointments, are left scrambling for alternatives. The stakes couldn't be higher, but instead of addressing these pressing issues, the board seems locked in a perpetual power struggle with Henyard at the center of it all.
Again, no comment from Mayor Tiffany Henyard. Voters here will first head to the polls in February for the primary election, then the general mayoral election.
What makes the situation even more bizarre is how normalized this dysfunction has become. Some residents now expect meetings to devolve into shouting matches and personal attacks, with little hope of substantive progress. This is just another day in Thornton Township, one attendee said, with a shrug, summing up the frustration and exhaustion felt by many. Meanwhile, Henyard's decision to host a bingo night in the midst of this crisis has sparked outrage among her critics. "How can you prioritize bingo when your township is falling apart?" one resident asked. But Henyard's supporters argue that she's trying to maintain a sense of community in difficult times. Regardless of the intent, the optics of the event didn't sit well with many, further fueling the perception that leadership is more focused on distractions than solutions. The stakes are high for Thornton Township residents, especially seniors who depend on essential services like transportation and meal programs. Without proper insurance, these programs face the risk of shutting down, leaving vulnerable populations without critical support. Henyard expressed a desire to avoid layoffs and keep people working, But her critics contend that her focus is more on political maneuvering than addressing the township's pressing issues. The dysfunction extends beyond services, tarnishing the township's reputation. Residents are increasingly frustrated with the ongoing drama and lack of tangible progress, viewing the situation as driven more by personal vendettas than by genuine concern for the community. Calls for action over theatrics dominate public sentiment as the township's future hangs in the balance.
The vote is unanimous. The objector's petition has been withdrawn.
Can't do that. Can't contest everyone that come.
Henyard's leadership style remains a divisive topic. Supporters see her as a strong and determined leader willing to stand her ground, while critics label her as combative and inflexible. During the meeting, a trustee proposed a financial compromise, but Henyard dismissed the suggestion, reinforcing the perception that she demands complete control over decisions. The political tension in Thornton Township continues to escalate. Henyard's feud with Harris, whom she accuses of orchestrating her removal from the Democratic ballot for supervisor, has deepened. Despite Harris denying wrongdoing, Henyard has filed multiple lawsuits against him and the Democratic Party, alleging voter suppression and unfair tactics. While she frames these battles as being for the people of Thornton Township, critics argue they are distractions from addressing the township's real challenges.
This manipulation, nobody likes being manipulated, and when you get here, you know that's exactly what's happening.
The lawsuits are just the latest chapter in what has been a tumultuous few years for Henyard. Since taking office as mayor of Dolton in 2021, she's been embroiled in scandal after scandal. From allegations of financial mismanagement to a federal investigation into her handling of township finances, her tenure has been anything but smooth. And yet, she remains defiant. In a recent social media post announcing her re-election bid, Henyard proclaimed, "The show will go on. But will it?" With her name off the Democratic ballot for supervisor and her position as mayor under threat, Henyard's political future is far from certain, and her opponents are determined to see her ousted. Senior trustee Jason House, who has been leading the charge against Henyard in Dolton, has launched his own mayoral campaign, promising to prioritize ethics reform and restore trust in the community. "This isn't about personal power," House said in a statement. "This is about doing what's right for the people of Dolton." Meanwhile, Henyard's allies are working to secure her place on the ballot, both in Thornton Township and Dolton, but their efforts have been met with resistance at every turn. Just last week, several of Henyard's challengers were removed from the ballot after objections were filed by her supporters. While some view this as a strategic move to consolidate power, others see it as yet another example of the political gamesmanship that has plagued the township for years.
Well, she's one of the most recognizable faces that's been on the news lately. I'm talking about the mayor of Dolton, Tiffany Henyard.
And all of social media.
Yes.
As the drama continues to unfold, residents are left wondering what's next. Will the township finally secure insurance? Will the budget be approved? And most importantly, will the leadership be able to put aside their differences long enough to actually govern? For now, the answers remain unclear. But one thing is certain, the road ahead won't be easy. The public's reaction to the meeting has been mixed, with many expressing frustration and disbelief at the level of dysfunction on display. One resident commented, "She doesn't need the trustees to get insurance." Another added, "She's trying to trick the board into paying her bills." These sentiments reflect a growing sense of disillusionment among voters, who feel that their elected officials are more interested in playing politics than serving the community.
Has this surprised you, how much the viewership has gravitated towards this woman? Like, people from all over the world are talking about her.
Despite the criticism, Henyard remains undeterred. She's vowed to fight back against what she sees as unfair attacks and has promised to continue advocating for the people of Thornton Township. But whether she can deliver on that promise remains to be seen. For now, residents are left to navigate the fallout of yet another chaotic meeting, hoping that their leaders will eventually find a way to move forward.
Lights are off behind me, the doors are locked here, and there's a sign on the building right now that says it's closed. For how long? Neither residents nor employees know at this point.
What do you think? Is Tiffany Henyard a strong leader fighting against the odds, or is she part of the problem? And can Thornton Township ever recover from this level of dysfunction? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.